Some soccer coaches believe that running speed is an essential component to success in the game, and others prefer to focus their selection criteria on completely different factors, like technical or tactical ability. This has been a very controversial topic in the game for a long time now, and it's going to be the subject of our discussion today. Should soccer coaches recruit players based on running speed? Welcome to the Soccer Fitness video blog. So later on this week, I'm going to be hosting an online discussion through the National Soccer Coaches Association of Canada, or NSCAC, along with Danielle Barrera and Gabriela Triquillo, and we're going to be discussing this exact same topic: should soccer coaches recruit players based on running speed? This discussion is part of the NSCAC and Soccer Hub online debates, and you can get more information about this event, including a link to register for free, in the video description below. So why is this subject so interesting among soccer coaches? As I mentioned, it's been a controversial topic in soccer for a long time. And that's because some coaches do believe that running speed is an essential component to success in the sport, whereas others select players based on very different criteria, tending to focus on either technical or tactical ability and specific things like game intelligence or soccer IQ. So what is the correct answer to the question? Should coaches recruit players based on running speed or not? Now, I must admit that I probably come off as a little bit biased when it comes to this topic, but that's because I'm so passionate about and believe so strongly in the science around the topic. So let's have a look at it. First off, it's clear that soccer players perform a lot of fast running and sprinting in games. A recent study out of the University of Poznań in Poland in 2013 found that at the top professional level, soccer players perform between 12 to 15 maximal speed sprints in every game. And another recent study from the University of the Faroe Islands in 2003 found that soccer players perform high intensity running, and that is fast running in addition to sprinting, of up to 2,500 to 3,000 meters. That's 2.5 to 3 kilometers every game. That's a lot of fast running or sprinting. There's links to both of the studies in the video description below. What we've also got to keep in mind is that as players progress from professional youth teams to senior professional teams, they also do a lot more high intensity running and sprinting. A 2007 study out of Liverpool John Moores University in England found that among the top Premier League clubs, academy players did progressively more high-intensity running and sprinting as they progressed from the U13 to the senior professional level. Again, a link to the study is in the video description below. So what does this mean? Players at the top professional level do a lot of fast running and sprinting, and the older players get from youth to senior, the more fast running and sprinting they do. But what if you're a coach that says, it doesn't matter to me how fast a player can run. A smart, tactically gifted player who happens to be slow always has a better chance of becoming a professional than a faster player that's weaker technically or tactically. Well, based on the science, you'd be wrong. The fact is that being a fast runner is one of the best predictors of whether or not a youth player will go on to become a professional. A 2006 study out of Aristotle University of Thessaloniki in Greece found that youth players on the best professional clubs were faster, stronger, and more powerful than youth players on some of the lower level pro or amateur clubs. I even co-authored a paper that found very similar findings with regards to female provincial and Canadian national team players. So the research is very clear. Being fast is a good predictor of whether or not a youth player will go on to play professional or national team soccer. So it's clear that the science says that speed is important for soccer, but is speed something that soccer players are born with, which would mean it would make sense for coaches to recruit players who are fast? Or is speed something that can be trained for, in which case you don't need to recruit fast players, you just need to train them well so they can improve speed? Now, this question can be a lot more difficult to answer because it can be difficult to quantify exactly how much of a soccer player's running speed is genetic versus environmental. But most of the research suggests that running speed is mostly genetic. Even in my own PhD research, after a very well-designed speed training program, we only saw improvements post-training in running speed of between a few hundredths to maybe a tenth of a second. We're going to put up a graph from a recent study that I had published, which drives this point home. Again, link to this study and all the other studies I've talked about is in the video description below. As you can see, players from the training group that made improvements in their running speed over 3 different distances did so by an average of about 1/10 of a second. Now, while that may not seem like a lot, in soccer terms, running faster by 1/10 of a second is about 1 step. And so if a player makes an improvement of 1/10 of a second, that means that they're about 1 step quicker than they were before. And that extra step is going to help any soccer player reach the objectives that they have, whether that means progressing to a higher competitive level, getting a scholarship, or just performing better on the field day in and day out. The challenge here is that we're looking at the criteria that determines whether or not a player is going to become a top professional. And when we look at the differences in running speed between top professionals and everyone else, these differences are much more than a few hundredths or even a tenth of a second. So what this all means is that while training to make improvements in running speed of a tenth of a second is still very valuable and very important for any soccer player, when it comes to coaches selecting players at the top professional level, players are either born with genetically greater running speed, or it can be very, very difficult for them to train to achieve it. So, to conclude, if soccer coaches value running speed from their players, and based on the science, they should, then they need to consider players' running speed when they're scouting, recruiting, and making player selections. As I mentioned before, I'll be moderating a debate on this very topic as part of the NSCAC Soccer Hub online debates. And this particular debate will happen on Thursday, April 16th at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have provided a link to this 100% free event in the video description below. So I hope that if you did find this topic interesting, you'll think about registering and get even more value from the upcoming event. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please click like, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. And as always, please feel free to share this video with anyone who you think may find it interesting. That's it for the blog this week. We'll see you next time, and until then, keep reaching your soccer fitness goals.